Hello, welcome to day 4 of the Advent Calendar. I'm Matt Powell. I'm the executive manager of RTP Productions. I'm an actor in practically everything. And today we have the first of a 4-part interview with NICHOLAS Briggs. Now, I did this interview with Nick Mack in January, and I won the competition to go and visit the Big Finish studios during a recording. I even got a couple of lines in the Jupiter conjunction, which I've still to listen to. I think I get electrocuted or something like that, so I do need to pick it up and listen to it. I'm not credited, sadly. It was an amazing experience, and I can't thank David Richardson enough for allowing me to interview Nick, as well as Janet Fielding and Mark Strickson, which you're going to see very soon in Timey Wimey, which I spoke about in the first Advent Calendar video. And we got a 20-minute interview done, and it was absolutely brilliant. Nick is a lovely man, and I've divided it into 4 parts for your own listening pleasure. However, on the 4th part, I will make the interview available in full as a download on our website. So I hope you are having a good Christmas, and here's the first part of NICHOLAS Briggs, who, as many of you know, voices the Daleks, is the executive producer of Big Finish, and also was in Torchwood, Children of Earth, and has voiced a lot of other monsters. Hope you're having a good Christmas. I'll see you tomorrow.
Testing. Is it working?
Yeah, I think so. It usually does.
Okay.
So obviously you started off as a fan, and you're involved
Absolutely.
in the audio sort of dramas. What was that like, sort of to become the Doctor, even though it was a fan thing?
What, in
Yeah,
the old days, in
yes.
audio visuals? Well, it was great fun, yeah, because I was a massive fan, and I just got involved with it because a group of fans were doing the things, and the guy they had playing the Doctor was Stephen Payne, who used to be an editor of a magazine, and he's not an actor, and he was just doing it for fun, and he was pretty awful. And a friend of mine who was doing all the editing, Nick Layton, you know, he said to the guy who was producing them, "Oh, my mate Nick Briggs, he's just come out of drama school. He could do it." So, yeah, it was great fun, and taught me a lot of the things I later came to apply to Big Finish.
What was sort of the inspiration to go into acting? Was it Doctor Who, or was there was it something you've always wanted to do?
It's an interesting question. I initially, you know, when I was about your age, actually, I thought I was going to be a teacher. I thought that was the career path I was going to take. And then I got to the age of 16. No, I was doing my O levels, as they were called then. I am that old, and I had an opportunity, and I was interested in drama, and I had an opportunity to go and do an A-level drama course at the local technical college, rather than going to the 6th form college. And I suddenly realised, because from a very early age I'd wanted to do drama, but I tried to do it at primary school, and I passed out the moment I looked at the audience. I was so terrified. And right up until I was about 16, I desperately wanted to get on stage, but I was frightened that something bizarre would happen to me. The moment I walked on stage, I would just pass out. So it took me from about the age of 9 till 16 to work up the courage to go back on stage. And I suppose I gradually realised, as I was doing the drama course at the technical college, that that's what I wanted to do. I think there was a point where someone asked us, "Are any of you going to go on to university, or what are you going to?" And I put my hand up and said I was going to do an English degree, and someone turned to me and said, "Surely you're going to drama school?" And I thought, I'm quite impressionable, you see. You can sort of more or less tell me what to do. And I just thought, oh God, I suppose I am going to drama school. I suppose I do want to be an actor. But I suppose my enthusiasm for storytelling and action and drama came from Doctor Who. But other, you know, movies on television. My dad and I used to watch a lot of films together on telly, and that was, you know, I think kind of wanting to be part of all that. And I was always writing stories and, you know, drawing comic strips. So it all seemed sort of, I don't know, part of what I wanted to do.
Excellent. Obviously, one of the major parts in, I'd say, your life is doing the Dalek voice on television. What was it like to get the phone call saying we'd like you to do the voice of the Daleks?
Well, it was incredible. The story goes like this, and you may have heard it before, so you don't have to use all of this. But several of my friends were at a big meeting with Russell T Davies when they were setting up Doctor Who, where he explained to all the people who did the books and the magazines and everything what the new Doctor Who was going to be like, and he said they were bringing the Daleks back, and a couple of the people there who knew me put their hands up and said to Russell, "Are you going to get Nick Briggs to do the voice of the Daleks?" And Russell said, "Yes, we are, but don't tell him because we haven't contacted his agent yet." And then these people proceeded to contact me and say, "Look, don't tell anyone. I'm not supposed to tell you this, but they're going to ask you to be the voice of the Daleks." And then months went past. Goodbye. That is the departure of Janet Fielding. Several months went past, even with Rob Shearman writing the Dalek script, and Rob's a really good friend of mine. He was my best man at my wedding, and he was telling me all about the Dalek story he was writing, and I still didn't know whether I had the job, so it was quite difficult for me because I thought, well, maybe it's just it was just a thought of Russell T Davies's, and it's not going to come to fruition. And then in the meantime, I heard all sorts of rumours that Andy Serkis was going to do the voice of the Daleks, and I thought, yes, of course, they'll get someone famous to do it. Why would they ask me? And then I alerted my quite bad agent at that time. I've changed agents since then. That this might happen, and he hardly ever phoned me. He hardly ever got me any work. And then he phoned me one day, and I just knew that the moment I saw his name, I thought, well, he's not going to be phoning me to tell me I haven't got the job, because they just wouldn't have contacted him. And I was absolutely ecstatic. And I think probably the second person I texted was David Tennant, actually, to tell him that I said, "I am the voice of the Daleks."
And obviously then he was just a fan.
Exactly, well. He was an actor and an actor I'd worked with on Big Finish, So I had no idea that, about a year later, he would have been the Doctor. In fact, he kept in touch with me the whole time I was filming, because he was filming with Russell doing Casanova. So I was setting off to do Casanova. I was setting off to do the Daleks, and he was setting off to do Casanova. And we were sort of comparing notes on what it was like to work on a Russell T Davies thing. And how, Russell mentioned you the other day. Russell mentioned you the other day. And then we, met up for lunch, and I told him all about how the filming was going. And again, you may have heard this story, but I remember having lunch with David and saying, "I've got a funny feeling," because we just finished the filming of. I was just in the final phases of the filming for Parting of the Ways, as it ended up being called. I think it was just called episode 12 when I did it, or 13. 13, yeah. Useless to remember these things. And I said, I get a funny feeling that Chris Eccleston's not going to come back. I just get this vibe from things people have said to me. I said, and since, they're casting on Doctor Who's completely different it was in the old days, I said, I think you'd be a fantastic Doctor.